We are on location at the Quinsam River Salmon Hatchery. I'm Mary Ruth Harris, and this is Go Island. You're watching Go Island. We are going to learn today how they actually harvest salmon eggs. The first step is they come here and they swim up this little channel to this gate. They open the gate and they let them into this pond. Coming up in the show, we are going to learn how to cook with pumpkin and not just pies. There is a new fundraiser going on in Parksville. Ouch, that hurts. You'll see what I mean. And a Métis artist donates his last work. But first, Franco Noviello has the chance to talk to a very special Tour de Rock rider. You're watching Go Island, and we are on location at the Quinsam River Salmon Hatchery. This is step 2 in the process. Eric is going to plunge the water, and it's going to make noise, and the fish are going to swim down this channel, and they're going to come into this great big huge container. Look at all of them. And then what's happened is that the container is going to be lifted up by Pauline. She's going to lift it up. Look at them all. Oh my God, I'm getting wet. No, you should have stayed in there. Holy Toledo. Oh, that is wild. Now, Gord, if you come around here, you can see them all being dumped. Come on. And they're all going to go into this big container. Here comes the water. All right, we'll come back to this. Coming up now, a great story about how to cook with pumpkins, and not just pies. We are at the Quinsam River Salmon Hatchery, and joining me now is the manager, Dave Ewart. Dave, what is it that is happening today? You're taking salmon eggs. What is the process involved?
Okay, so we're taking pink salmon eggs. These are wild fish that have come up from the ocean. We've diverted them into our holding ponds, and now we're putting them through an anesthetic bath that puts them to sleep, and then they get put onto a sorting table, which you see behind me, and that's where Gordon and Eric here on my crew, they're checking the females to see if they're ripe and ready to spawn, and that's sort of a culture practice to just use your fingers to feel the belly of the females. And if they are ripe, they're passed behind and they're bonked on the head where they're killed. And Pacific salmon die after they spawn, so it's not like we're ending their lives prematurely. So they go there, and then they're put onto a table, and there's a whole other crew at the end that are cutting the bellies of the females. The eggs go into a bowl, and then somebody's standing by with a male, and they basically milk the male for the milt, and it goes in the eggs, and from there it's fertilized and goes into the incubation room. Okay. So it's quite a process.
That is really, here on location at the Quinsam River Salmon Hatchery, there is a hive of activity going on. Only 4 people are paid staff. Everybody else is a volunteer. From the Salmon River Hatchery, from the Quinsam River Hatchery, they're all here today helping to gather 11 million salmon eggs. Now, Jack Menard from the Salmon River Hatchery volunteer group is here today. Jack, what is it you're doing over there?
We're taking eggs out of the females, mixing them with sperm, and they're going into the incubation room. That's the short answer.
Here on location at the Quinsam River Salmon Hatchery, there is a hive of activity going on. Only 4 people are paid staff. Everybody else is a volunteer. From the Salmon River Hatchery, from the Quinsam River Hatchery, they're all here today helping to gather 11 million salmon eggs. Now, Jack Menard from the Salmon River Hatchery volunteer group is here today. Jack, what is it you're doing over there?
We're taking eggs out of the females, mixing them with sperm, and they're going into the incubation room. That's the short answer.
And what they do is, oh, see that? Did you see that? They're coming along with the male and they're milking the eggs. Go ahead, go ahead. Just go ahead and do what you're going to do.
So that's the milk going into the eggs.
Okay.
And we're doing 10 fish at a time in a bucket. So once a bucket is full, then it goes off to the incubation room.
Okay.
And it's just keep doing that all day long.
How long does it, how many days is it going to take you to do all of this?
We
Or has
put
it
in
taken?
4 days.
4 days?
About one of those days actually gets our eggs that we need for the Salmon.
Yep.
But we put in 3 volunteer days to help all the other groups get their eggs. It's kind of the way we pay to get our eggs,
Right.
by providing volunteers.
Okay. Awesome.
It works great.
And Jack, how vital is this egg collection to the rest of the hatcheries up and down the island?
That's kind of a tough question. Really does vary. Some of the pink programs are an actual fishery. Some of the pink programs, like ours in the Salmon, is to bring nutrients back to a depleted system. So there's 2 different sort of motivations for this. Both are critical. This opportunity to actually work with these folks here at Quinsam and get eggs for ours, it's amazing that we can do that. It's really significant. And it's the only way that we'd be able to build anything in the Salmon in terms of pink salmon. Other species, we're going to have to look at other ways when we decide, or if we decide we're going to enhance those. But pinks we do, for every gram of body weight in a pink salmon, there's more ocean nutrients than any other species.
Really?
Yeah. More concentrated with potassium and nitrates that are coming back from the ocean that are then left in the watershed to feed the watershed again.
Okay.
So these are amazing creatures for that job. They taste good too.
And now, down to the Comox Valley where yo-yo-yoing is back in style. Okay, so what is this bucket for?
Okay, we just came from the sorting area, but this is after the eggs have been taken from the females and the milk's been added from the males. So in this bucket there's 10 females worth of eggs, which is about 12,000 eggs. So they're fertilized and they're just waiting to go into our incubation room.
Holy 12,000?
Yes.
12,000. And how many buckets like this do you get?
Well, hundreds, because this is 12,000, but we're taking about 11 million eggs, so that's a lot of
11
buckets.
million eggs. That's a lot of buckets. All right. So as you can see, they're throwing the carcasses into this big container. Now what happens with these carcasses is they are actually taken and they are spread along the banks of the river, not only to feed the forest, but to feed all of the wildlife that are looking for food. Now, people that are looking for food, have you ever seen Swamp People on History Channel? Check it out sometime. But in the meantime, there is swamp music coming north. Here it is. You've been watching the weekend edition of Go Island. I'm at the Quinsam River Salmon Hatchery. Right here in this container, there's 500,000 eggs that were gathered over the past week. Amazing, isn't it? Now, here's a little thing that I didn't know I'd like to share with you. In the wild, only 3% of all of the eggs in riverbeds survive. In a hatchery, 95% survive. That's the only way that you get salmon on your table to eat. I'm Mary Ruth Harris for Go Island. You've been watching. Check out our stories online 24/7. We are there. Have a great weekend.